Hello, my name's April. This is my vlog number 1 for TE150. Hopefully you can hear me through this microphone because I'm in the caf eating right now before class. So, my partner for the Global Work Learning Project is my TA graduate assistant for my German 102 class. She's actually getting her PhD right now, and she was born in China. Her name's TT. She was born and raised in Beijing, which is a northern city in China, north of Shanghai. And she went to college there, got her undergraduate there, and then came to America for her PhD. She's going to Michigan State for her German program. She looked at U of M and Germany, or U of M and Michigan State, and she said U of M was more critical of her, and Michigan State was very inviting. But we had a really good conversation. It was really fun. I feel really comfortable around her. And some similarities that I noticed between us were like our attitudes towards school. I was expecting her and her parents to be harder on her because she was talking about how competitive it is to get into these different high schools and colleges. But she described that she wasn't good at what most of the other kids were good at, which was like chemistry and physics and like math things. And she was more arts focused, which was hard. But they take an exam at the end of middle school to decide what path they want to take in high school that will like kind of separate them into the math and then the arts. I asked her a lot about like the social aspects of her school, and she said that she was quieter, which I felt, and she wasn't really involved in sports, and she said NBA and basketball were a huge deal there, which was interesting. Didn't expect that. And I also asked her about stereotypes and biases. Well, but first, one thing that I did identify was the extrinsic motivation and the intrinsic motivation in her school life. The extrinsic motivation for her was once she was in high school and she got to take classes that were more focused towards what she wanted to do. She started to work really hard so she could go to school and eventually get a PhD at Michigan State. And she wanted the social approval from her parents, from her peers, and to graduate. And she went from being kind of average student to top of her class all of high school and her undergraduate. But her intrinsic motivation was when she was more in like middle school and early high school. She did a lot of reading and arts kind of things and like stuff with linguistics and English. And she did that just for herself. She wasn't required to do it or anything. But yeah, I did ask her about like stereotypes, biases, and like how that played out in her school. And she did mention a stereotype between girls being better at humanities, which was the path she was taking, and boys being better at science. But one thing that I thought was kind of funny was bullying in high school was lessened because of how academically focused all the kids were. She said everyone was so competitive and focused on getting good grades that no one really had time to pay attention to each other. I thought that was interesting. I don't know. I feel like in American high schools, at least at mine, I told her about how people definitely cared a lot more about sports in high school until like junior year. And she told me a story about how one time this guy who was like not very smart or something like studied and got good at basketball, and he was like the popular kid, and apparently being good at basketball and being smart is like desired in China. I asked her about her parents' involvement in the school just to see what kind of like support she had through school, and she said that they had her take English classes like outside of school on Saturday mornings. And she did English in school starting in like first or second grade. And then she wasn't really involved in any sports. Honestly, we had like a really good conversation about all of the different aspects of high school and middle school. I have my notes out here with what I was going to relate it to culture and how it plays out in her life. I think like with the iceberg model of culture, a lot of the things were for her, like she was a girl, so she was supposed to be good at humanities, which she did fit the stereotype, but she didn't like that she fit it. And she was an only child. She didn't have a lot of like socialization when she was a kid, but I'm excited to talk to her again. Peace.